Also on what's brewing, TERN Group has raised $24 million in Series A funding to scale its AI-powered platform that helps Indian nurses and care workers build global careers. The IIT Bombay-founded startup has grown 10x in the past year, is nearing 200 crore rupees in revenues, and now operates in 13 countries. With this fresh capital, it's doubling down on AI, training, and global expansion. Joining us now is Avinav Nigam, the founder and CEO of TERN Group. Avinav, welcome to Startup Street. You say TERN is making global careers faster, fairer, and more transparent. First, give us a sense of what's broken in the current system, and then if you could tell us how your AI-powered platform is changing the way Indian nurses and care workers pursue careers globally.
Thanks for having me, Shruti. Great question, very important moment in time. We've essentially got one of the largest shortages in healthcare workers that the world has ever seen. Essentially got close to an 18 million shortage. What that also means is that it's collapsing healthcare systems across the global north, UK, Canada, Australia, US, and so on. And what we're finding because of that is there's an incredible amount of aspiration built into people trying to achieve and get into these roles. So, a country like India, essentially booming with talent, the talent density is extremely high, also has a massive issue in terms of the information arbitrage between, let's say, the talent and the opportunity. So what's happening as a result of that is you've got a lot of these agents and, experts in migration pretending to help people out, essentially charging them 20, 30, 40 lakh rupees to go overseas and find those roles. So there's a lot of scams being operating in this space. That means it's slow, it's costly, it's opaque. So what we've essentially realized is if you could collapse the entire system, these 7 steps between the talent and the opportunity into a 2-sided marketplace, essentially a zero-fee AI-powered system that essentially does everything from the first phone call to the credentialing, to the document and data gathering, to the matching, as well as the compliance pieces around visa and immigration. What you've done is reduced hiring timelines by 60%. You've increased success rates of placements by 4x in our case. And you finally built the infrastructure of overseas migration. It's fast, it's ethical and transparent.
Sure. And like I mentioned earlier, you've grown 10x in the past year, nearing 200 crore rupees in revenues, a footprint in 13 countries. Avinav, what's been the biggest unlock for scaling at this pace? And with this fresh round, what's next? Which new markets are you eyeing?
Yeah, I think the biggest unlock in a category like this, as you can imagine, is solving for trust. And it's trust not just at a consumer level, in this case, the candidate, it's also trust with the hospitals that these people are serving, it's with the regulators, it's with the policymakers, it's with the education institutes at a grassroots level. So I think one of the most critical unlocks for us right from the beginning was really focusing on creating trust in the ecosystem. And that is what has actually helped the business the most. Apart from that, the other big thing I think I would argue is technology. Like, this was not possible. This company couldn't have been built in the same way 3 years ago before AI, because we've been able to create a perfectly symmetric level of information and provide people access of qualitative information at any given point in time. So it's a seamless system. The capital being used, look, we're sort of doubling down on the markets we're operating in. We're going deeper into Germany, into the UK, into the Gulf states, where we're seeing a lot of migration happening. Japan is another market where we have presence, and the USA in 2026. The other areas we're investing into is AI. We're sort of going fairly deeper into AI researchers, PhDs that we've hired and sort of onboarded into the platform, HR experts, as well as ensuring automating compliance and language training at a grassroots level as well.
All right. Avinav, you're already training 1,000 to 2,000 Indian nurses every year. You claim to hold over 25% of the German language training market in India. What are the next big verticals you're eyeing with this fresh capital?
So we essentially started with nursing, sort of went into physicians, doctors, looking at elderly care as one of a big vertical, given where the economies are going. Average age of 45 to 50 years old in many of these countries. Allied health professionals, lab technicians, radiology, OT staff, and so on. The other piece we're sort of getting into is also academies. On the training side and the compliance side, specifically for the UK, GCC, and Japan.
Sure. Avinav, you also claim, and you mentioned earlier in the interview that, you've shortened hiring timelines by 60% and delivered placement outcomes 4x higher than the national average. How do you ensure that ethical recruitment stays core while chasing aggressive growth targets?
That's a fantastic question. I think one of the key challenges in this always tends to be it's the human becomes a number on a sheet. For us, it's been very important in aligning values of the company towards ensuring that we're actually creating grassroots change. I think that's the core and the culture of the company. I think because we're a zero-fee platform, from a candidate point of view, they're never in the dark about having to spend 20 lakh, 30 lakh, 50 lakh rupees that people are charging them. So that's one big part of the process. The employers fund it. Secondly, is that AI is actually ensuring complete lack of bias, right? So you're ensuring there's compliance, there's transparency, the documents are verified, you're ensuring people always have access to the full information. And finally, I think the one key thing that I've really realized is that if you are if you're building things in a certain way, if you're ensuring there is high NPS between the talents, between the employers, in a trust deficit system, the business keeps coming back.
All right. On that note, I'll have to wrap up our conversation. But many thanks, Avinav, for joining us today, and wish you the very best with all your growth targets.
Thanks, Shruti. Appreciate it.